to another episode of Halftime Adjustments. It's your host, Eddie Arnell, my man, G Witt, J. Lou. Tighten up, fellas.
Tighten up, baby.
Tighten up, man. So thank y'all for joining us tonight. Come on in, get your questions, your comments in for tonight's show. Man, how often can we say this championship week leading up to the Jaguars this weekend coming up? No, we're gonna touch on the Cowboys game just a little bit because of some things that need to be said about that football game. But the Titans trying to get out of this funk, man. 6 straight losses, dropped another one to Dallas. But as we all three witnessed at the game on Thursday night, man, they played better than you thought they would, considering the circumstances that this football team is in. Jay, look, give me your first assessment or first takeaways. Better yet, I'm gonna title this one "Missed Opportunities." And so, if you notice the missed opportunities or some takeaways, man, give them to me right off the bat.
Man, you changed it up. I kind of like the name of that. New year, new title. Right. I think some of the missed opportunities was taking advantage of not having all of our horses to be able to take advantage of Dallas wanting to Dallas at that game away. Because Dallas was begging to give that game away.
Especially Dak.
Dak wanted to give that away. So I would think that would be probably the biggest missed opportunity that I saw, overall in the game scheme. Everybody's been talking about it before. They said that was Todd Downing's best game he's called. I'm not going to even say that was Tim Kelly. I think my other biggest takeaway that I would say missed opportunity was that offensive scheme is the scheme that we need to be running in the future with Derrick Henry, and it's the exact same scheme that you should have fit for Malik somehow. And we've been saying that. And a lot of folks were saying, they saw a lot more short passes, this and that. Well, you can still do all of that you did on Thursday night. You can do that with Derrick Henry in the lineup. And I think that's one of the things that's frustrating as a Titans fan, if you've seen that this year. So that'd be a couple of my missed opportunities that I give you right off the bat.
All right. What about you, G Witt?
It's pretty much the same, man. I mean, you come out of the first half, you have 2 interceptions, and you only get 3 points off of them.
Yeah.
That's a huge missed opportunity, man. But it's typical. It's typical of how this offense has been run this year. Just a lot. I mean, you had some drop passes in key moments, but overall, it's just basically you just missed scoring points. I don't know. I know they ended up taking our boy out the game after he did his second false start on 4th down, and I don't know if that if that may be the straw that broke the camel's back as far as the coaching staff is concerned or not. But I mean, 2 4th downs, and you're the main veteran on the line, and you jump both times.
Right.
and we can't even say it was a long count.
No,
it wasn't.
So it's just one of them things, man. There was a lot of missed opportunities. The game could have been a whole lot closer, but again, and I'm going to disagree with J. Lou. I say this. I agree with him. That's the offense they should run with Derrick Henry in there. And even if Malik is playing, instead of trying to make Malik into a drop back passer, we saw a lot of rollouts or RPOs. But the problem you got with Todd Downing, and I know Eddie's going to speak on this, after he gets through his script, he doesn't go back to any of those plays.
Right.
Even the plays that worked, he don't go back to them.
Mm-hmm.
If they happen out of attrition. You saw Josh Dobbs run out of attrition to a rollout and everything, but you saw no planned rollouts. You saw no RPOs, anything like that. It was just done and over with. So those are my missed opportunities.
Yeah, and you guys, like you said, you've hit on a bunch of. Let's talk about this, man. Chris Connolly, and I was so mad. I told G Witt before the game that I wasn't gonna get upset at the game. I was gonna watch it because of the fact that we was playing backup players, right? And then they weren't even trying to win the game. Well, so if you go back to the pass play to Hooper, right, and it's almost a pick. Chris Connolly runs his route. Dobbs is under duress. It's the scramble drill, right?
Mm-hmm.
Chris Connolly runs his man back and stops right there where Hooper is, and it's almost a pick six. Why don't he keep running? That's a missed opportunity. He might have got open. He might have been able to get hit for the deep pass. Who knows? But that right there is this route running malpractice, if I can call it that way. So there's one. And then, G, which you already mentioned, man, we get 3 turnovers and 3 points, man. It just doesn't add up, right? And it's been the same song and dance all season long. And then one other thing, Jay, I was telling G we're doing the game, man. I was so upset because of this playbook that magically appears for Dobbs, and it's not even there for Malik.
Yeah,
you know, similar skill or Tannehill, similar skill sets on all 3 of these guys, but yet you don't. When have we ran a play action bootleg screen?
Yeah.
When have he ran it all season?
Yeah. What's the common denominator that you just said about Malik and Tanny? The King wasn't playing.
That's right.
That's what that game Thursday showed and proved to me that you have no creativity out. You're too stubborn to change your playbook around Derrick Henry. Because again, what I saw Thursday, Derrick Henry would eat in it. If I'm not mistaken, this might have been the first game that I actually seen some zone run schemes.
You saw it.
Yes. Yes. You saw pulling guards and all.
Yes. Yes. So they were running. It was almost the old counter tray scheme from back in the day, pulling the guard and the backside tackle up in the hole out of shotgun at that. And so I'm like, so this is something else I told you with too. And he can verify everything I'm saying. I told him tonight or that night that we were going to see the real deal about Todd Downing because all his dogs are gone. No Derrick Henry. And now he's going to really call the plays to help this team get in position to win. And he literally failed. And I was sitting there counting, J. Lou. I was counting the scripted plays. I said, well, here's 15 right here, G. I said, after that, we'll see what happens. And it hadn't changed. So,
at all.
So yeah, man. Like G said, man, he gets off the script. Okay, you can come back to the script. You can come back to the script maybe and run a similar same play out of different formation. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of teams do that. And so those are some of my missed opportunities, man. It's just, I thought that, as far as well as the defense played, that this game could have been won. I mean, really. Dobbs made a couple of bad throws. I see people on there bashing Malik. Dobbs is a better quarterback. I don't necessarily agree with that.
He was on somebody's practice squad for a reason.
That's right. That's right. And let's don't forget, we said on this show that Malik was not ready to play this year. That's exactly what I was going to
say. Dobbs has been in the NFL 6 seasons. So as G. Ridley said, being on the practice squad means you go through, how to prepare as a pro. Right. Malik is still learning that, still learning defenses, etc. Dobbs just proved that he's a veteran quarterback in the league. Regardless of playing time, he's seen a lot in the NFL to be able to go out there and perform.
And it points to the simplicity of the offense.
And that's what I was getting ready to say.
Because that just lets you know it would tie down, it doesn't take a whole lot. And that's the whole thing you're missing out on. I mean, again, we've beat this dead horse to death, but, it just goes back to show you that, this guy has no creativity on offense. He has no feel for the game. He won't go back to the plays that work. If he does, he calls it at the wrong time. They may be rolling with the run play, but all of a sudden he wants to run an end around with Tannehill or somebody. And I'm like, dude, or better yet, he wants to run a direct snap to Derrick Henry in the middle of the field.
Yeah, and I don't understand why he didn't come back to Treylon Burks on another jet sweep. I mean, he's ran that play back-to-back weeks, and it's been 15, 20 yards both times. Yeah. And so you want to get the man, you want to get him the ball just like you want to get Derrick Henry the ball. Yeah. You saw that he broke the tackle down the sideline. I mean, that was just outstanding. Right. Yeah. That was outstanding.
And the thing about it, the thing that's driving me crazy about that, because that's the same play they tried to run with AJ Brown when AJ Brown was here. Mm-hmm. But you see that Treylon Burks is a better runner out of that as opposed to what AJ Brown was. Mm-hmm. So that's my whole thing about him. And I'm looking at this. I mean, it's just this guy has a lack of understanding of, and we've been saying it all season. He has a lack of understanding of personnel. Mm-hmm. And you can tell by his personnel groupings and everything. His tails are all there. When people know, defenses know that when this group comes in, this is what they're going to run.
Yes. And what just blows my mind is the simple fan that I am can see it every time. So just think about these genius defensive coordinators. Oh, well, let's see. Hollister, Swain, NWI. Oh, it's gonna be a run. And so I'm gonna press my defensive backs up because they ain't gonna throw the ball on me. There's no threats out there. And so I'm gonna press my defensive backs up and I'm gonna fill the box with some more people.
And even if he does try to throw out of it with that lineup, none of them can get open.
Yeah.
We don't have to. Our DBs can play 1-on-1 because nobody can get open. NWI can't get open. Right. You know Jeff Swain can't get open. The only person who might be able to get open is Hooper, and they'll put a corner on him, and he can't break away from that coverage.
Jalen, I know you saw it as we did. They threw the ball to Swain, and he falls down.
Yeah, we talked about it in the stands. the guy that sits in front of me, we call him Roger Goodell. While we call him the commish, he said it. He was like, "Well, I guess the silver lining is at least he caught the ball, but we didn't know he was still in the field." That was going to be that's another missed opportunity, and maybe they were saving him, and he was getting less reps than like the starters. But I don't believe that. But Chig took a step back, and
he did.
I don't get that.
He was on the sideline a bunch late in the third and early in the fourth. Now, I get it. You know, about midway through the fourth, they kind of say, okay, we're not going to really win this game, so let's pull the guys and save what we got for next week. I get it. But before that, because I'm asking G, I point out to G, I said, Chig is on the sideline. He's not even playing.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, I mean, what's going on? But let's get a comment in, man. Thank y'all for joining us. Will says, why it seemed like Dobbs was more in command of the offense than Tannehill. Dobbs is calling audibles, unlike Tannehill.
Because it was dumbed down. And I don't mean dumbed down. And to be what G Wood just said, it was simplified even more. This looked like so, if you watch, got home late and got to see the TV copy on Amazon Prime. So they show a lot of the behind the scenes interviews and stuff. Mm-hmm. Dobbs knew he was starting right after the Houston game. It just didn't get out. So I think they put it in and it was tailored to him. Whereas I think with Tannehill, it's more of, we're going to run Todd's system regardless of what we got. And that's kind of how it looked. Because to me, when we watched in the preseason, it looked like even if the offense was vanilla, it was a little bit more flexibility because we was just trying things. That's what I thought we saw Thursday night with Dobbs looking like he had more control of the offense.
Yeah.
Yeah, 232 yards passed for Dobbs, 20 of 39. I mean, not no glaring big numbers, but I mean, like I said, he had some moments that he made some mistakes. He had some moments where he made some good plays. But by and far, man, I think as we've said the past 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, and I think we said it last week when somebody was making a comment about Malik, I said, well, the offensive coordinator has a job to put your players in position to win the game. And if that's dumbing down the offensive play calling, like you said, J. Lou, that's what you do. You got to be able to get your players ready to play. And if that's meaning taking 5-yard routes or 7-yard routes on first down, then that's what you do. You just don't say, well, we're going to run the typical offense because that's what we want to do. No, you got to cater to your guys.
Okay. And look at it from this standpoint. This is really what, if anything about this offense and Todd Downing and Mike Vrabel is driving you crazy.
I know.
And this is the fact that your offensive line is so weak that when Josh Dobbs come in, you deliberately run rollouts to get him away
the from opposite side. Yes.
And
oh my God,
we've been saying all season, why aren't you running rollouts with Tannehill? Why aren't you calling that rollout with Tannehill? Why aren't you calling rollouts with Malik? Your offensive line is weak. It doesn't take a rocket science to know that even when you had Ben Jones, Nate Davis, and you had NPF and you had Daly and Brewer, you knew your offensive line was weak. Mm-hmm. Why wouldn't you do rollouts then instead of doing this consistent drop back passing like we're going to make you a Tom Brady type quarterback?
Yeah.
That is not what Tannehill is. That is not what Malik Willis is, and it's not what Josh Dobbs is.
Mm-hmm.
So it goes back to what you just said. They're not catering the offense to fit the player who's running it. That's one thing you did like about about Arthur Smith. Arthur Smith, that's the reason why he ran so much play action.
Because he knew
it fits Tannehill better.
Right.
Right. He knew Tannehill's not Tom Brady. Tannehill's going to need more space, more time. You run play action, you give him that. Right. Instead, you're trying to make him a straight drop back passer, and that's not what he is. And he's not, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying he's elite even as a play action passer, but he's better than just being a drop back passer.
That's right. That's right. Oh, Will says Dobbs is a rocket scientist. Yeah, he's an aeronautical engineer. So he's smart. He's great. He's a genius.
Astro Dobbs.
Yeah, he is. He is smart.
Scientist.
So yeah, not to insult his intelligence about dumbing down the offense, but for him to be as if I was. Let's just say it this way. Now, I ain't gonna even say it that way because I know why he was as effective as he was to a certain extent, because they put stuff in that he could do.
He could do
a little roll in the pockets, rolling away from Michael Parsons. Why? To give him time to throw the ball, because he might have some indecisions because he's not comfortable with the personnel, right?
Right.
So do things like that is what we're saying. Do things like that, which it doesn't make sense. Go ahead.
Speaking of the indecisions, and you saw that out of him because there were a few times he had opportunities to just tuck the ball and run.
Right.
He wouldn't do it.
Right.
Yeah. And those really those cost him.
Right.
Those really cost him. So he the thing about it is, and I don't know if they're telling him not to run, don't want to get hurt because they don't want to risk it with Jacksonville coming up and being stuck with just Malik. But that right there, next against Jacksonville, he's not going to be able to do that. He's going to go for the gusto regardless. And if they go in there with a conservative game plan, then we know, it might be time to just for Amy to just say we're done.
So yeah, and just to hit on the Thursday night game just a little bit more, and then we're gonna be heavy on Jacksonville tonight. But some of the bright spots that I see, guys, that if we can find some bright spots, is that Treylon Burks is continuing to produce on the field, getting the ball. You like Monty Rice, tackling machine, man. Even Dr. Gibbons has some good plays. Although he's kind of slow, he can't go anybody.
He's just slow.
Right.
He's built to stop the run.
I was trying to be nice.
Yeah.
You like to see the push that Tierra Tart got without Jeffrey Simmons?
Yeah.
Pop-Tart had a great game.
He sure
did.
did.
Pop-Tart had a great game. Now, some of the things that are very disappointing other than the play calling, our defensive backs, they panic. In good position, then they panic and grab the receiver when they don't have to. Trey Avery, man, 50-some yard penalty. All you got to do is turn around.
Man, and Deion, I ain't seen him jump on yet, but I'm going to go back to Deion and last year. He's been talking about Anthony Midget forever. Right. And I think what you just said, that's coaching. Yeah. Like panic is the understatement for what they do back there. I mean, literally think about the last 2 or 3 weeks games we played. We've had a lot of those YOLO balls that I used to call, we just throwing them up. Yeah. So that's interferences because we're just Avery was literally giving the guy a hug. He was hugging the receiver for no reason. Just hugged him.
And I'm like, when the play happened and we were in the stands, I told Andy, I said he panicked.
Yeah.
Yes.
I said he just straight up panicked. He saw the ball was up in the air. He knew the man was standing behind him. And and he just like, I'm just gonna grab him. Didn't have to grab him because the ball wasn't even close to him.
Wasn't even close. Yes.
And what happens the next play? Good coaching. You go right back at him, he bites on the play action, and he gets sucked up, and his man scores a touchdown. Because they in his head now. See,
yeah. So I thought one of the calls on Roger McCreary was bogus.
Yeah,
one of the guys. We won't even talk about the doggone roughing the passer.
No, we ain't gonna talk about that, man.
That was just stupid,
horrendous.
But I again, like you said, overall, I thought the defense played well. I'll put it like this: they played well enough for us to win. One thing you have to be impressed with is that that when they said we're not going to let you run the ball, you're not running the ball.
You're not running.
Ezekiel Elliott, I think it averaged
2.7 yards. Yeah.
1.9 yards a carry. He had 19 carries for 39 yards.
Yeah, 2.7 for a team. So yeah.
I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, we rushed for 97, but really, I just think right now, I'm interested to see who's going to be available for Jacksonville as far as the defense is concerned. Is David Long going to be available?
They said that.
Christian Fulton going to be available?
Yeah.
I'm not sure what we're going to do. Is Amani Hooker going to be available?
Right.
That's the thing we have to look at because right now, with that secondary, again, we haven't had our full secondary all season.
Yeah, exactly. And I think
go ahead. See, my bad. I didn't mean
no, you go. Go ahead.
I think you see The only person on defense that I would have slight concern about is going to be David Long.
Mm-hmm.
And if they open and again, because his is the hamstring, if they open the window tomorrow, which I fully expect from some sources, I think he has a shot. But I think you get the full Titans defense as full as we can be going into the game Saturday, which again, I think is the one good thing about the defense playing as well as they did this past week. And Dallas wasn't no scrub. I mean, Dallas still had something to play for. Yes. And they played to the end. Yes. Now Mike McCarthy almost outcoached himself to lose that game, and Dak did, but our defense was going against a top-notch offense. And I think just the confidence level. I mean, we lost the game. You're on a 6-game win streak, and there's no such thing as moral victories in the NFL.
That's right.
But to get that loss, and I mean, we was at the game. I felt different come out of that loss than I did against Houston, because you saw a glimpse of, man, what can be next week on defense. Now, offense is still going to be questionable, but on at least your defense, to your point, G, if we can get Fulton back, I think you got to get a healthy Fulton back where Roger can slide back to being on the number 2. And with him being the number 2, that gives you some things to do a little different in the slot. But with him the 1, you having to cover a 2 and a 3 now with your backup to the backup to the backups, and I think that'll help everybody else be comfortable. But the other bright star on that, man, say what you will, Kevin Byard is going to go down as one of the top 3 Titans, not Houston Oilers, but Tennessee Titans in their history, top 3 Titans of all times, man, because he was going to will us to win that game if he could.
He was. And I really like what Bowen did with Byard. And I would like to see more of that. And I understand it's because we had so many linebackers out, but they played him at a linebacker position. They played him at a star position, if you want what you want to call it. You know, kind of that rover type safety linebacker hybrid position. And so he was more involved in the pass game than he normally is. He was manning up Schultz. And I think it actually suited his skill set. That was probably the best game he played all season.
Hands down. So, and you saw him. I think you saw him because we've always talked about. I think Byard has been a little not himself just because of the communication and the new players in the secondary. I think this was the game, to your point, that you saw him in the last 2 years play his best. Because again, we still had new people out there, but to me, he played more freely than we've seen him been able to play in the past.
Yeah, well, he had a specific assignment, like you said, playing the star role and covering the tight end. So, it fell more, really, on all honesty, it fell more on Adams as far as getting the DBs in position and everything, as opposed to Byard.
Yeah, but he's out now.
which, like you said, freed him up. Yeah, now Adams is down, again. Another player hurt. Like I said, hopefully we get Hooker back and everything, but really the situation right now is that if we can, I'm hoping David Long can come back. I really am.
That's going to be
I'm
key.
hoping he's healthy enough to play effectively. That's going to be my key.
Yes.
No, I agree. Yeah, that's a great point, because like we said, Gibbons is although he's a good run stopper, he's bad in pass coverage.
Yeah.
And he's out there because everybody else is hurt. So if we get him back, we get David Long back with Monty Rice, and you still can play Byard up in the box.
And if you can get Dylan Cole up.
And Dylan Cole back.
I know we're going to get into the Jags, but, the last time they played a few weeks ago, that tight end killed us because they were killing us. We didn't have nobody to check.
Nobody could cover.
So,
Right.
So that's
and the thing, man, I was going to say something, but I don't know, man. It's just going to be interesting to see how all this pans out, because really, I thought Rashad Weaver played a good game Thursday. I thought he played decently. And, the fact that, he's, Danico will be playing, he'll be playing. It's going to be interesting to see, because remember that last Jags game, Danico didn't play.
He did not play. And you saw how effective he was when he played.
Yeah.
Yes.
Although it was a loss, he was still effective. So
and that's going to be the key, because really, we got to play our best ball and really get pressure on Trevor Lawrence, because he's playing lights out really right now. I'm gonna say this: he's playing very solid. He's not really costing them games, and that's the thing we got to do. We got to make him cost games. In addition to, we also got to hang on to the ball.
Yes,
turnover. Jacksonville has been great at creating turnovers. We had 4 against them the last time.
Yes.
And we're still and on this losing streak, you see we're still turning the ball over too much. I mean, even against Dallas, I mean, the interception and the fumble and everything. So you got to start doing some things differently. You can't have any turnovers against Jacksonville because that's really what keeps them alive. That's really how they're winning, with the turnovers and everything. They're winning the turnover battle with every game.
Right. And so somebody said, I think it was weird, they said, after seeing Houston get smacked today, should be more enough to can down it. I'm sitting there and I text J. Lou, man. I said, really, the bottom line, I'm gonna steal the phrase from G Witt. The bottom line is the Titans really suck because they got beat by Houston. They got beat by Houston. Look at them today, and they couldn't even move the ball on Jacksonville. They had, I ain't gonna say they couldn't move the ball. They had opportunities because the defense was playing good. But again, it just makes it even look worse. And so Dion was asking about, he says, Andrew Adams was making him mad to no end. Dude was he was looking like the world's greatest grip. Yeah. Andrew Adams, ever since he had that, G. Witt said in the stand, he said, ever since he had that pick 6 against the Colts, he has gone downhill. Mm-hmm. I mean, he misses tackles. He's out of position. He gets beat on in coverage. And so I don't know what happened to him. But again, it goes back to my point I told you with practice squad players are practice squad players for a reason.
Yeah. He was a depth player to be able to give you a spell here too. And he's played the whole season just about.
Almost, almost.
Dion also says, what we think about Dobbs? He looked pretty good to me for only 8 days of work coming in. So Dion, here's my take on that, man. And then I'll let these guys go. So I was upset, Dion. I'm gonna tell you why. Because this playbook that was brought out should have been brought out for Malik. The same plays. Why are we rolling the pocket away from Michael Parsons? Michael Parsons didn't even have a sack. This guy into this game getting 2+ sacks for 6 straight games. Yeah. So he's on the street. He didn't even get a sack. Now he was close a few times, but guess what they were doing? Rolling the pocket away from him. So why are those plays being ran right now? Right? Why are the plays being ran where we bootlegging and throwing screen passes? And why are we doing all this? Look, how many RPOs was in the first half, G? 2, 3?
Yeah, at least.
Yeah. And he only ran 2 for Malik in the whole entire game the week before. So I'm saying is the play calling to me should have been the same the week before. Why change it now when you have this guy, when you have the same type of quarterback beforehand? And so, yeah, you do. Again, your coaches put your players in a position to where they're comfortable and they can play. And so by them doing the offense the way they did, it made him comfortable. They did things that he was comfortable with. They took his skill sets and did things that made him comfortable. So yeah, he should be successful. I would think,
Yeah, they did the same thing that Baltimore did with Lamar Jackson when he got there.
Yeah.
He put him in an offense that his skill set where he was comfortable with it. They did that, and what happens? He becomes a human highlight film. Right. All over the place. And that's the thing that really drives you crazy. Again, I've been, like I said earlier, they keep trying to make Tannehill, Malik, and I'm afraid they're going to try to do it with Dobbs because they did it in the second half. They keep trying to make him into a quarterback like Derek Carr or Peyton Manning or Tom Brady, where you're just a straight drop back pass.
And that's not his game.
And that's not neither one of those guys' game. Mm-mm. None of them really are good at that style. Tannehill is okay, but that's not he's not really good at it. Mm-hmm. You have got to give him motion. You have got to give him misdirection because you got to remember, he's a mobile quarterback. He came out of a spread system. You got to give him time to get the ball out and everything. And play action and motion helps him to read the defense. And when you're not doing that, you're really slowing your offense down. That's why we can't move the ball, and that's why we can't score.
Right. So that's a great question, Will. Will says, how can they find a QB from a practice squad, not a left tackle? Man, if I knew that answer, I'd be a millionaire. I'd be a millionaire if I knew that answer. Because it don't make any sense at all.
And let's just be honest, LaRaven Clark ain't much better.
No, he's not.
Nope. He's in there getting work too. So it's just that's stubbornness. I think plan B was they waited too late to move Dylan. Of course, he went down with the ACL. But there's no way that there's 31. You finding everybody on practice squads. Think about all the positions we plugged in practice squads this year, except for left tackle. That's gonna be that's J. Rob's finest at his best right there. It's just that left tackle position.
And everybody, if you wonder why he's the only one on the team on the line that doesn't get hurt, look at his jersey during the game.
Oh my gosh, he's never on the ground.
Jersey in the game.
Well, no, he's on the ground, but he's usually on his back, getting up off the quarterback. He done fell backwards trying to protect himself.
Well, no, usually he's missing the guy when
missing the guy, and he's just crawling around.
Yeah.
And who was the guy they put in for Daly? Number 68. I don't even. He's not even.
Was it not Clark?
No,
Clark was 61. Yeah, 61.
He was an elevation, game day elevation. I had to get
okay, because I was like, I couldn't even find his name on the roster.
Yeah, he was a game day elevation. I forgot the elevated alignment.
Oh man. So hey guys, thank y'all for joining us for another episode of Halftime Adjustments. So let's get some more comments in, man. Bushy Prey says, man, appreciate the comment. Butch, he says Malik is not very fast compared to these NFL players. Dobbs just seems to be a faster runner than Malik.
So I'm not gonna say faster. I'm gonna say better decision making,
more decisive. There you go. Yeah.
Taylor asked it earlier about if the game didn't matter, why'd you play Dobbs? I think you played Dobbs because you're trying to actually win, and that's no knock on Malik. Let's just go back to it. Malik was brought in to be a project. Yeah. They were praying and hoping that if this is be serious, if the Atlanta Titans didn't take Logan Woodside off the practice squad, that's a great chance these last couple of games you would have saw Logan as opposed to Tannehill. And I actually think you might have saw Tannehill go on IR earlier than he had to, because the Titans, the brass over there, just knew that this wasn't the year for me. But this is supposed to be Malik's red shirt. He was drafted for this to be a red shirt year. And you can see it again. Dobbs looked comfortable because it fit his skill set. But Dobbs looked a little comfortable because he's seen 6 years worth of NFL action. I mean, he's set behind Big Ben.
And the speed of the game.
The speed of the game. So he's seen that. So I wouldn't say that he was faster, but when you're decisive, that makes you quicker. Because there's several times against Houston where Malik hesitated a second or two too long. And they're closing in on him. So I would say that's probably what it is.
And that's the whole knock against Malik. And again, we all knew that coming in. You knew he was going to be slow going against NFL defenses, especially, and you got to understand, during this time of year, you're playing playoff football.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And as I always try to explain to people, especially those who really never followed the NFL, you have 3 grades of football. You have the preseason, which is played more at college football speed. Mm-hmm. You have the regular season, which is played faster than that. But when you start getting into playoff time, the game ups the ante. And you talking about, and you can guarantee that what you're going to see against Jacksonville is going to be a faster game than you've seen all season long. And I will say this, going along with what you two guys said, I think if Tannehill doesn't go on IR, they might play Malik against the Cowboys because they knew they would have Tannehill for Jacksonville. But the bottom line was, when they knew they were going to have to put Tannehill on IR, they went ahead and said, we need to see what we got with Dobbs. And so that's what they did. So my thinking is Dobbs is going to be starting against Jacksonville.
I agree, 100%.
We'll see how that goes. And then, I know Vrabel didn't say anything Friday about it. And, and I'm like, 9 times out of 10, I see him starting. But because they don't want to put Malik in that position. Right. Mainly because they know he's a project and they don't want to ruin his confidence. You keep putting him in stuff like that, you're going to ruin his confidence. But one thing I was telling Taylor earlier today, that Malik, I love him. I think he's a good guy. But I would say this, he's got to flip his attitude a little bit and be more competitive than what he's really showing. Mm-hmm. You can't get up to the line of scrimmage trying to draw people off and laugh saying, I can't do it. No, you can't do that. Mm-hmm. You got to be more competitive. And that's another thing about Malik. They got to get pulled out of him. You got to pull that competitiveness out of him. Or either that, or you're looking at next year, probably midway through, that's going to be it for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's going to be tough for the youngster. But, but he's got to grow, and they've got to do a better job coaching him up. And so, one more bright spot from that game, and then we'll move on. We'll start talking about Jacksonville. So, and I just want to see if you guys noticed this as well. So, 33, Jonathan Ward, running back. That guy actually got some pretty good wheels. I didn't even know who he was at first, but he ran the ball. Yes, he ran the ball pretty effectively.
Yes,
And
he did.
I'm just trying to see what they do with him this week, if he stays elevated or what happens. Because, you know, he was averaging 6.5 yards a carry. Now, most of y'all might have said that's during garbage time. Dallas still had Michael Parsons and those guys in the game for a
To the end of the fourth
long
quarter.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, again, go ahead.
I'm not going to even say, I'm going to say it's because the run scheme was better. I haven't seen us pull guards and tackle most of the seasons. And there were several runs where we were pulling the guards outside of having a fullback or Jeff Swain, fullback Warren Swain in the backfield blocking as well. So I think the scheme helped. But to your point, he was a good change of pace back because he was hitting it with, he was a little shifty and a speedster. And I thought that Haskins ran well behind that.
He did.
He ran a couple Dallas defenders over.
Yeah.
So that just goes to show, if you change up the scheme, you should be able to spell Derrick Henry. We talked about that during the offseason. Haskins has been a waste because he hasn't really been spelling him. He's just been a special teamer. But I thought both of those running backs showed that they can go in and give Derrick Henry a series or two off and still keep the offense running.
Yeah, and that's what I was telling G, is that's why I said this earlier, and I said it to him during the game. I said, this is when you find out about Todd Downing. I mean, we know about it, right? We know about it. But this game right here is one of those that you don't have Derrick Henry. So now you have the element of surprise, if you will, knowing that he's not that type of guy that we know he's not. But you had that on your side because you don't have your beast in the game. And so now it doesn't matter who's in the backfield. You can either run, you can throw, you can come out in a shotgun, you can run the counter tray or the backside, pull the guard attack and run the trap on the other side, or whatever it might be. You had that opportunity and you get 3 points off 3 turnovers. So,
well, here's the thing too, and this is the thing that really drives you crazy. And I know what's going to happen Sunday is going to drive me crazy on Sunday. But I was talking to Kelly, my friend Kelly today, and we were both talking about it. And I'm like, it doesn't make any sense that you're not using and as poor as your offense is, and as predictable as your offense is, that you're not using Derrick Henry all 3 downs. And I'm not talking about handing the ball off to him.
Right.
But
right.
if he's a viable threat, the defenses have to honor. Yep. And if you can do that, even when you got 3 wideouts out there, don't give me this noise about pass protection or anything like that. If you quit running 10-yard outs and run somebody across the middle, you can get rid of the ball in another 1.5 seconds. But every time we're in 3rd and long, what does he run? He runs these 10 yards out. Everybody's going towards the sideline or going towards going down the sideline. Nobody's going across the middle. And I just don't get it. That when you see that in replays on 3rd and long, that lets you know you really don't have a good offensive coordinator. Right. Because these routes they're running don't make any sense.
Right. Exactly. Again, though, the defense does well. I mean, to hold a team to 2.7 yards a carry when the team has got Ezekiel Elliott as their running back, Pollard didn't play, but they had Malik Davis that played and ran the ball pretty good. I mean, that's pretty impressive. And they had their offensive line. Dallas has got supposedly have one of the best offensive lines in the game. And top 10 scoring offense, top 10 offense, and you hold them to 87 yards on 32 carries. And so that like you said, J. Lou, I wasn't too upset about the loss. I was actually encouraged because the way they played, knowing that next week could be a better result if they play like that again. And so G Wick's laughing. So, all right, so let's move on to Jacksonville, fellas, because it's going to be an interesting football game, and I know y'all probably watched some of the Houston game today. Jacksonville's defense is actually playing pretty good right now. Creating turnovers, getting pressure on the quarterback. But there are some weaknesses on that defense, mainly in the run game. So G Wick, let's talk about Jacksonville, man, and this defense. Let's look at the defense first. They got some pretty good edge rushers in Josh Allen and Walker, and young guys that I think it was Walker. No, it wasn't Walker. I can't remember the other guys. And they had 2 sacks who came in here a few weeks ago and beat us. And so it's going to be key to get the same playbook that they ran this past week. Those play action out of bootlegs, those rolling the pockets. It's going to be the same game plan that you would think, though, right, G?
Well, here's the thing about it, and Jacksonville still has partly the same problem that they've always had as far as that defense is concerned, is that they're a little light in the tail feather. They're fast. Don't get me wrong. They're fast. They're extremely fast. And they come with intentions of knocking the ball loose. So that's why I said earlier, ball security is going to be the key in this game. Right. Because really, when you go back and look at that first game we played against them, we don't have those 4 turnovers. We're having a much better game against them. I'm not saying we're going to win the game because, at that time, I thought their quarterback was playing and their offensive coordinator was calling better plays than our offensive coordinator, which ain't hard. No, it ain't hard. But I mean, I just thought Doug Peterson is a better play caller than Todd Downing 10 times over 10. Right. But really right now with this Jacksonville defense, ball security is going to be your friend. You got to be able to hang on the ball. Derrick Henry, especially, if you're going to be running him, he's got to protect the ball. He can't keep turning the ball over, and that's the problem he's been running into this season, especially on this losing streak. He's had more fumbles in this past 5-6 games. Well, I'll say 5 games that he's played in than he's had his entire career. Yeah. And it's really amazing to me because he's not a fumbler. He wasn't a fumbler in college, high school. All of a sudden this year, during this losing streak, he's fumbling the ball. So ball security is going to be a key for whoever has the ball. Josh Dobbs, Hassan Haskins, whoever's running the ball, whoever's receiving the ball. Ball security is going to be your key because Jacksonville is coming to strip the ball. If you're receiving, you're catching the ball, and you're running, protect the ball at all times because they're coming for it. That's what they do. That's how they win games. Right. It's the same thing that the Titans were doing last season when we were all high talking about how they won in the on the gauntlet and everything. Well, one of the reasons why they won the gauntlet was because we were turning the ball over. We were getting interceptions, we were getting fumble recoveries. And so the offense was having a short field. It's the same way that we got to go against Jacksonville. And 2, we got to do something that we did against Dallas. We got to be able to drive the ball on that defense.
Yes.
To give our defense a rest. That was one of the reasons why I thought our defense played a lot better, because they were able to sit on the sideline a couple of times and actually review what they saw in the last series with Dallas and actually come back out. So, yeah, you got to be able to drive on that defense. You got to be able to put together more than just 3 plays and a punt. You got to be able to do more than that.
Right. And to your point, G, and excellent points that you made, who would have thought, J. Lou, that we would have had over 300 yards of offense against the Cowboys? I mean, really. Think about it. Think about everything we was up against. A new quarterback, right? Make a patchworked half great
offensive line.
Right. And they had over 300 yards of offense. Yeah. But yeah, and then one more thing, and I'll let you go, J. Lou. You talk about the turnovers, G. 16 forced fumbles for Jacksonville on the season so far. So yeah, they turn the ball over. They turn the ball over and they get 13 interceptions on the season. So go ahead, J. Lou.
Yeah, so I like G Weed's point, and I was gonna bring it up about Jacksonville's defenses. I'm not gonna say finesse because they're light and fast is what I mean by finesse. Derrick Henry still owns them in Jacksonville. So I think this is a game where we just said play action. If we could come out, and I was screaming it in the stands the whole time, and each time he didn't do it, I yelled at Todd. I don't know why you won't play action on first down.
Right.
Because I can tell you right now, Jacksonville's going to see Derrick Henry back there with that dark visor on Saturday or Sunday night, and they're going to have 9 in the box, and you've got a quarterback that can process fast enough. The 2 things I like that I saw, well, one thing that I saw from Josh Dobbs Thursday night, he threw the ball downfield. He had a couple of shots to Racey McMath. He was just throwing the ball. And we've been saying it, even if it's an incomplete pass, take the shot down the field. So you've got a quarterback that can do that. So if we don't play action on the first play, which we probably won't because Todd's going to go back to, I don't want to do it, this is going to be a long day because I think this is a game where you could take advantage of Jacksonville's mindset to just aggressiveness to just want to stop the run. Because I think even if you keep hitting them with play action after play action and driving and being successful with it, still don't think they're gonna change their mind because they see 22 in that backfield and they know what he's done, especially when he goes home. Jacksonville's home for him, goes back down there. So this is the game where I really think we've got to take advantage of that on defense. I thought we did a good job. You talk about Michael Parsons. I thought we did a good job chipping him. I expect to see the same thing this week. We see a little bit of some chips. And then we've got to have the slants and the short passes. A 3 to 4 yard pass is the same as you running the ball. The difference is that 4 yard pass might be 4 yards, whereas the 4 yard run might actually be 2 because you're going to get hit behind the backfield and then stumble for 2. So that's the same thing as a run to me. But I think this is a week where you've got to use Jacksonville's aggressiveness against them to really drive the ball. And as G. Witt said, the number one thing is protect it. Keep the ball protected.
So let me get some more comments in because they're so fun. Dion said he believes it's Henry Foote calling the fumble problems. That's all he has. So that's what he's going with. Will says, better believe Vrabel's going to show the players the film of Lawrence waving bye-bye to the fans at Nissan Stadium.
Definitely.
You definitely going to probably see that. Butcher says, it'd be nice to hit some deep shots to McMath with Henry on the field. Tannehill has been missing some of those deep shots. And Dion says, and this is a good point, Dion, why can't Racy catch a ball without falling down? Right. Teach him how to stay on his feet and run through the catch. That's a great point, man. That's a great point. And so, and Ryan Walker says, I feel like he's replying to the Henry fumble issue. I feel like he's trying to do too much, make up for lackluster offense, so he'll have a tendency to have issues with ball security. I think that's a great point, Ryan.
That's what I said a couple weeks ago. He's trying to do too much, especially not running behind. He's running behind. This is the worst offensive line Derrick Henry had in his career,
right?
Alabama included. So I think he's trying to overcompensate for that, because I believe 2 of those fumbles, if I'm not mistaken, has been his own lineman being in his way and him trying to maneuver past them and getting it knocked out.
Yeah. And the thing about it too, and I don't disagree. He's definitely, because I mentioned this. I think Eddie, I mentioned this to you, is the fact that it's hard to believe that Derrick Henry he's probably in 3rd place now, 4th, as far as rush, has 1,400 yards rushing behind the worst offensive line he's ever had.
That's amazing.
And leading the league and getting hit behind the line of scrimmage.
That was amazing.
That just shows you how good he really is.
That's right.
Because
that's right.
You got over 1,400 yards against a horrible. We know they can't pass block, but their run blocking is horrible.
Trash.
Right. And you don't even have a receiver close to 1,000 yards.
No. Not
and
even
you're
close.
doing it. And so just imagine if his offensive line was decent. You could almost argue that this is a 1,700 to 1,800 yard rushing season for him.
Yep.
You can almost argue that. And so that's something we talked about in the other previous shows too, that if we could get to that 1,500 yard rushing mark and have 300 some yards of receiving, then that would be a successful season and the offense would be moving the ball. But unfortunately, we didn't get right.
That's been the problem.
So,
can't put the ball in the end zone. One for 3 in the red zone, I think it was Thursday night.
Yeah. And so, I agree, though. The Jacksonville's defense is light, and so we should be able to take advantage of that aggressiveness. Jay Lou, to your point, and if some kind of way, if we can just smack Todd and get him to run play action on the first play of the game on the offense and go deep. I mean, I know it's not going to happen, G, but I can just hope. I can hope. So,
because like literally, if you do that, you put the fear in their head, like, oh, wait a minute. What's really going? This ain't the same team we just saw. And Jack, let's just be honest, when it comes, and we'll talk about intangibles, the Titans team is more mentally tough than this Jags team. We've been here before.
We've been here.
Territory for the Jags. I mean,
that's right.
You got a Titans staff the last 3 going for their 3rd straight AFC South title. They went to the playoffs last year with 91 players on the team. So when you think about, and when I say been there before, you think about our core, your Byers, your Simmons, and all that. They've been there. So that, I mean, as much as people say that makes a big difference, as G. Witt talked about when you start talking about playoff football, which in essence, Sunday night or Saturday night is a playoff game.
Right. Well, and so go ahead, G.
No, go ahead.
What I was going to say is, so Jacksonville, they've won 5 out of the last 6 games, right? And so I'm going to go back to earlier last year, because it's a new year. Happy New Year to you guys, by the way. Yes. And I was coaching my youngest son's flag football team. All right, so we had one tie and was undefeated, and there was 2 other teams undefeated. Now, one of the teams that was undefeated other than us they scored the most points. I mean, talking about this boat racing folks putting up 40 piece nuggets on everybody. All right. And so I told him, and it's just like this, like you just mentioned, J. Lou. What happens when you're in a close game? You get all this confidence, you get in a close game, and you go down a score or two. You get punched in the mouth. And now what are you going to do? Are you going to be able to react? And so when we played that team in the playoffs, we got up on them by 2 scores, and man, they just crumbled because they hadn't been in that position before. And so that's what I'm saying. And to your point, that's a great point because, Jacksonville's flying high, but the Titans have been here. And we do have the equalizer in Derrick Henry if they're using it right. But go ahead, G.
Okay. I'm gonna try to be as uplifting about this as I possibly can. Here's the thing, and I will say this, and this is one thing I thought about that's going to make the game interesting. First of all, it's going to be the second time we played Jacksonville in the last month, so that's one thing. So I will say that what we have now is some I'm going to say experience against what they're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the main thing I see going on there. So that gives us an opportunity to take the win. Yeah, we got Derrick Henry and we got the defense that knows how to play in this position, but everybody that's on that offensive line does not know anything about it.
And the offensive coordinator.
And the offensive coordinator doesn't think that way. So it's going to be interesting to see how this game plays out. Defensively, defensively we've been there. Defensively, I think what's going to be incumbent upon our defense, we need our defense to score.
Yes,
definitely. We need our defense to score. They've scored a couple of times this season, but we need them to really score. Whether it's a pick six or a fumble recovery in the end zone, we need our defense to score because really that's the one thing we get momentum on. Again, going back, you're looking at these games and everything and the things we played this year. The second half has been our Achilles heel all season, and really some of the first half as well. Like I told Eddie Thursday night, second quarter has generally been the best quarter for the Titans throughout the season.
All season.
Yeah, and then after that it's all downhill. So we got to reverse some trends as opposed to what we've been doing. Because I say it like this: Cincinnati came in here, smacked us in the mouth, and we didn't respond, even though it ended up being a close game. Again, Philadelphia did the same thing, even though we was there. And normally we don't crumble, but after Treylon Burks went out, we crumbled. Same thing with Jacksonville. After they, we recovered from 2 turnovers, but when we had 2 more, that was it.
That was it.
And I would say when Derrick Henry got hit on the sideline and lost that ball, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. So really, we got experience in these games, and we can. But what Vrabel's gonna have to do, and this is probably going to be has to be his best coaching job, because not only is he going to make sure the players are motivated to do their job, he's going to have to do something that he hasn't done all season. He's going to have to tell his offensive coordinator, you got to do better than what you've been doing.
Right.
He's got to tell them that. You can't just blame the players talking about poor execution and everything, because your bottom line is it's hard to execute a play when the defense knows what's coming. So that's the problem you have. It's not so much players not execute. Don't get me wrong. We got a suspect offensive line. I'm with that. But it's hard to execute when the defense knows what you're getting ready to run.
Oh yeah.
When you put in that package of 2 tight ends and Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, they know what you're running.
Exactly.
So they basically just say, we know we can guard, we can cover Westbrook-Ikhine one-on-one. Same thing that we knew we could cover Cody Hollister one-on-one. We don't need help with him. So what are you doing? You end up with a single high safety. You got 9 men in the box. You can't run against 9 men.
Nope.
No,
numbers don't add up.
Numbers don't add up. You don't have enough people blocking.
Nope.
So and again, because they already know they're timing the snap and jumping it and getting past your offensive lineman before they can even get out of their stance. So what we got to see here, as far as toughness is concerned and mentality, our defense has got to come to play to shut Jacksonville down. Our offense has got to do something different than what they've been doing, and that's going to be again. Well, it's been the same all year.
Mhm.
That's going to be the key.
Yeah.
And I keep I hate going back to last week, but man, we've got to see more stuff like that in that game, those games. And so just to look at the Jacksonville offense, so number 8 overall in the league, man, they putting up some numbers. Trevor Lawrence is almost at 4,000. Travis Etienne has got over 1,000-yard rushing. They got 1,000-yard receiving. Christian Kirk. So moving the ball effectively. 8 interceptions for Trevor Lawrence. 26 times he's been sacked. And so there's some opportunity there. I saw some pass rush today. Trevor Lawrence probably shouldn't have been playing as much as he played in that game today because he was getting beat up. And so there's opportunity there.
They took him out.
Yeah, they eventually, but the key, as Jay Lou said earlier about Dylan Cole on the tight end, Evan Ingram had a career day here.
Career day.
And so we've got to do something different now. And I think you saw the answer to a athletic tight end last Thursday night with Bayard. Yeah. I think you saw that. And I know Taylor mentioned about, if it was a throwaway game, but there was also a game to where you were trying different stuff to see what was going to work. And I think you might have found something on the defense side of the ball by playing Bayard in that position. But we'll see. Andrew Adams gets hurt, and so that might change it a little bit. But yeah.
And again, that's why I think they're banking it. If you can get Hooker back, then that changes it dramatically because that stabilizes a little bit. And now, to your point, Hooker and Bayard are interchangeable right there when you talk about covering the tight ends and blitzing, and not losing anything on the back end. So I fully expect to see us, if you get him back and you can get Fulton, I fully expect us to see us run a lot of big nickel or big dime. Because I think, and Travis Etienne had a good game. I mean, he only had 9 carries. He was gone by halftime and had 108 yards.
Right.
But I don't, the last time they were here, they didn't run the ball. They couldn't.
They couldn't run the ball.
He would say you get Big Jeff back, you get Tart, you got Danico, who's probably going to play. You're not running the ball on us. So that Trevor's going to come out and throw it. He almost threw it, 50 times, I think, the last time we played. Yep. So to be something of that nature would be a little bit more spread out. So that's why you've got to be able to have, if you can get Fulton back and then have Hooker back to be able to key in on the tight ends. I think, as you said, because I saw it today in Houston, like I said, Lovie Smith has that defense plan. You can get to Trevor Lawrence.
Yes.
And I think you see a difference with you saw the difference 2 weeks ago that Danico makes being in that middle or being on that end, and how that frees up. Big Jeff had a sack and a half that game.
Who else does he free up? He frees up Walker. He frees up Edward Jr. And so those guys.
Yes. So I think you can see that, and you can get, if you can get Trevor off his keys and get him to be a little happy feet back there, he's susceptible to still throw you into the game. So that's going to be the key. And one of the comments came in there about physicality.
Yeah.
We've got to win the line of scrimmage on.
Thank you. I was going to say that. Yep.
Yeah. Because if there's one thing that's probably been disappointing, especially during this 5-game lose streak, we haven't been. The Titans are known of being bullies. We want you to get down and be grimy with us. We've been getting out-grimed.
Yes.
So we've got to go back to being physical and just punching Jacksonville in the mouth. And again, you punch it, like you said, as you use the analogy with your son's team, punch him in the mouth a few times, they might surrender. So.
Yeah, and so Dion, you are singing G Witt's tune, man. He says this is where we miss Crushake, man, to call those tight ends.
Yeah. But here's the thing, and one thing you brought up, Jay Lou, and I agree with you. As much as it's important that we get Hooker back, Fulton back helps out a
tremendously,
lot more,
yes.
Especially if he's in good enough shape to where he can cover. Because the bottom line is, you got him and McCreary starting, and McCreary moves like you said to the number 2. If they run 3 wides, then Avery moves to the outside and McCreary moves to the slot.
Mm-hmm.
Or that gives you the opportunity to put Lonnie Johnson in the slot, because you've seen him in the slot too. So that's why I say getting him back frees up more than just one position.
Makes you a little bit better as far as your coverage is concerned. And again, having Danico Autry, the key is going to be Rashad Weaver, making sure he maintains containment because, he's subject to lose containment. Simmons and Pop-Tart are going to do their thing, and Autry is going to do his thing. So it's going to be interesting. I agree with you about Long coming back. I think that's a key because, again, if nothing else, he gives you somebody that can cover, run with a tight end, I should say, or at least cover a running back out the backfield because they're going to throw the ball to Etienne. That's what they're going to do. Mm-hmm. You're going to see a lot because if you look at Titans on the defense, the one thing that's been other than the tight end against them is that they generally tend to let the running back come out of the backfield and run free.
Wide open.
And
a lot.
You're going to see Doug Peterson take advantage of that during the game. If he doesn't do it in the first half, you're going to see it in the second half. So Shane Bourne's got to be prepared for that and make those adjustments. But again, I think once they see that, if it happens, I go back to what I've been saying, is incumbent upon the offense to put together some drives. Mm-hmm. And again, these you're leading the league in three and outs. You got to do better than that. Mm-hmm. Because at least against Dallas, I give Josh Dobbs credit. You had a couple of drives that went 7-8 plays.
Right.
Yeah.
That's some good time for the defense to get, rested up, get reviewed and everything, and know what they got to do to come out. And I think if we can get something like that and put the ball in the end zone to score, we might be okay. Mm-hmm. But our problem is we can't we can't move the ball and we can't score when we get a chance.
Yeah. Right. Anytime you get 3 turnovers, man.
And you only get 3 points out of them.
Right.
3 points.
Right.
You got a field goal.
And then 3 points, if I'm not mistaken, that was the 3 right before half.
That was. That's right.
And that was on the big one that Kevin Byard got when he returned it.
Yeah.
And you threw that one pass to Burks and he tight-roped it down the line.
Yeah.
Vrabel calls timeout, kicked the field goal, and now instead of being 13-3, you're 13-6. And then you come out and can't move the ball.
Yeah.
Can't move the ball.
And Dennis Daly, I mean, he reached a new low.
I told you, man. I told G at the game, J. Lou, I said he wasn't involved enough. His name wouldn't get called enough. And so he had a false start twice on 3rd and short. On 3rd and short. And 4th and short. Yeah, 4th and short, excuse me. Both times.
Yeah.
We're going for it on 4th down and he jumps.
Twice.
At home. I was like, boy, this is so fun. This is so bad. But anyway,
I'm with you.
I fully expect Sunday to be a good game, in all honesty. I hope we win. That's all I can say.
You keep saying Sunday. It might be Saturday. It's not.
And the reason why I say Sunday, because they may do Saturday simply because it's when you think about it, J. Lou, it's not that big of a game because you don't have it is not affecting anybody else.
No. I think you said that wrong. It's so when you look at what they want for Sunday night, they want a win and end for both teams. I believe next week that's the only game.
It is.
So I think that you're gonna see this game Saturday night on ESPN. And the only reason I say that is it depends on what's going on tonight and tomorrow. Because even though Baltimore and Cincy have clinched, nobody's won the division. So when you start looking at TV ratings, Titans, Jags ain't Sunday night TV ratings worthy as you could have if you get Lamar Jackson possibly back against Cincinnati with just playoff jockeying. So that's the only reason I think it might be locked into the Saturday night slot.
And you also got the Lions and the Packers, right?
Yeah.
So that one's not 100% win in because if Seattle wins before that, then Detroit don't have a shot. Yeah, only Green Bay does. So but when you talk about TV ratings, Aaron Rodgers moves the needle. You can see them possibly moving it. So we should find out. If not at the end of the game tonight, it'll be tomorrow, of course.
Here's the reason why they didn't move away from that game today against Minnesota. Because Green Bay blew them out, and I'm like, dude, man, there's got to be another game that's better.
No, they ain't gonna change it because he moved the needle.
As opposed to watching San Francisco going to overtime against the Raiders.
Yeah, I agree with you, Nathan. Man, he said he wants to be optimistic, as I do too, man. He says if we make we make the playoffs and hope we can go on a run, but he just doesn't think it's gonna happen with the talent of the coach. Hey, Yeah, I'm with you, man. We agree.
Yeah.
I think we all agree with that. Is that yeah, we hope they win and go to the playoffs, but even if they do, it'll be a one and done.
Oh yeah,
It'll be a one and done.
Deion said nobody cares about seeing the Titans and Jags win the division.
I was ignoring him on purpose.
I'm just saying. I agree with you. I understand what you're saying, Jay Lou, because it happened before.
Yeah,
it happened before when we was playing against the Colts. It was a win, and then they moved us to Sunday night. Like I said, I don't know if it's going to make a difference or not. I mean, I just think they might still leave it at noon.
Oh, no. I can almost guarantee it's taking 3:30 Saturday afternoon on CBS, 8 o'clock Saturday night on ESPN, or 8 o'clock NBC Sunday night. It's taking one of those three slots. It will not stay a noon game.
Now, so let's go back in time a little bit, because since J. Lou has been on the show, he is probably about 97% accurate on stuff. No, I'm not saying that for you.
I'm not going to debate him.
Yeah, I'm not saying that for you. I'm just saying it for our viewers, man, the ones that are watching, because they know he brings some top-notch stuff when he says, and some of the stuff that comes out before other people even know about it. So, that's just our inside track. So and so Deion says, the Titans were to make the Super Bowl, I'll bet they'll shift it to Access Channel. Let's be real. He gave me the G Wick quote. Let's be real. There you go. There you go. And so one other thing, guys, I want to say about this game, and then we can wrap it up. But I think another key thing that, and y'all might have mentioned it, is keeping containment on Trevor Lawrence. Yeah. Last time we played him, man, we lost containment so bad.
Several times.
So bad. When they had him, they could have had a sack, and they let him get out of the pocket. Could have made a stop, get off the field on third down. Got to get off the field on third down too, for the defense. And so here's one more little tidbit. You get a rested Jeffrey Simmons. You get a rested Danico Autry. Jeffrey hadn't had a rest day in a while. So he's chomping at the bit. I can't wait. I can't wait to see Big Jeff. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait. Yeah, I just want to, even if the offense is bad, I just want to see what the defense is going to do.
And that's really what the game is about. It's about seeing how it's about seeing how our defense is going to play. Because that's really what I'm interested in, especially after watching the Dallas game.
Oh yeah, man.
I mean, I came away feeling better about against that in that Dallas game than any other time. The last game they forgot that Trevor Lawrence can run.
Right.
Yes.
They forgot about that.
Right.
And that's the thing you got to remember about him. He can run, and he will pick. Let's put it like this. He's not a running quarterback, but he can run.
He can run. Yeah.
He can run. He has the mobility.
So what you got to do is make sure that you keep containment and don't lose track of him. It's going to be imperative to get that push up the middle. It's going to be imperative. Pop-Tart and Jefferson Simmons going to have to eat.
I think. Yeah, go ahead.
And really, it's all out. It's all out for this one. There's no tomorrow.
There's no tomorrow. I think the X factor is going to be Danico. I really do.
Maybe.
I really do.
Because he didn't play the first game.
He didn't play the first game. Right.
You saw his impact against Houston. Again, I put the Houston loss on the offense.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. The last drive, they're going to say that. But yeah, that's the offense.
The majority of the losses we've taken this year has been on the offense, except for what? Buffalo.
And Philadelphia.
And Philadelphia. You know, other than those two, it's always been on the offense.
Always.
I mean, we won't go into it, but we know.
Right. Deion said that was Weaver's fault. He was jumping inside the last time we played. You're right.
Yes.
Weaver has a bad tendency to go in again, and we said it's been weeks ago, but we said it on this show right here that trying to play hero football and make the big plays instead of playing your assignment. Play your technique, man. The plays will come. Play your technique. Defense is won by playing team ball, not by playing individual. So
that's why I think you'll see a lot more of Danico on the outside. Just think about, I think you see a lot more of them wide nine techniques is what we call them, because you'll see Danico line up on the outside a lot more, especially with Bud being down and then rotating them linebacker spots. But to his point, Weaver's gonna have to play technique football this week.
Yeah.
So this is what I hope too, guys. And think back. Let's see. This is Trevor Lawrence's third season, right? So think back, is it third or second? Second. It's second season. So think back last year when they came here, what Bowen did to him. He brought everybody up on the line of scrimmage and kind of messed him up, and he threw some picks, right? And so I would hope, especially as Fulton is back, you know, when we got Hooker back, that we can see some of those cover zero blitzes that he ran against. He ran cover zero against Dallas.
I was just going to say that.
And Dallas' offense is way better.
Yeah, you had CeeDee Lamb, you had the Titan killer T.Y. Hilton at 40 still catching, and you had Schultz out there, and we still were in man-to-man zero blitzes at least 5 times.
So I mean, like G we just said, it's all or nothing. It's no holding back. It's no holding back now.
Conservative and everything. You just saying we're playing. We're done for the season.
We're done.
So
yeah.
If the offense doesn't score, Todd just might as well just move. He might as well just pack his stuff and just take it with him.
Yeah.
And stay down in Jacksonville. Because he ain't gonna come back. Yeah, Deion Rex Ryan did tell us. He told us exactly what to do against the Texans: run the ball, and they didn't do it. So
yeah, like I said, it's just they didn't run any RPOs at all. It just drove me nuts. I'm like, you got an RPO quarterback and you don't run it. You know, it just don't make any sense.
It doesn't.
Do the things that's going to help him feel comfortable in the offense, even in the NFL offense. Running the RPO is going to help. But like I said, I would say the best thing that could happen for the Titans, in all honesty, is after this Jacksonville game, and I would say win or lose, Todd Downing resigns.
Yes.
He's not gonna have to resign. He's going to be let go.
So,
yeah, I don't think he's gonna resign. He's going to be let go.
Yeah.
I think you see overhauling changes on the offensive side of the ball. You have a new offensive coordinator. There's a chance you see offensive line coach, tight end coach, and you might be looking at a new secondary coach. I think part of the final conversation, whenever that might come at Ascension Sports Park with Amy and Vrabel, because again, it's usually Amy, the GM, and Vrabel, but now it's just owner to coach. I think she set some expectations, and I don't think Vrabel is malarkey enough when it comes to that he'll make the changes and he'll be ready to ride with a new whole staff next year.
Do you got inside track on this stuff, man? Because I know you're the man.
Asking, yeah.
Hey,
I'm not asking you to reveal anything. I'm just saying, do you?
He won't resign. I'm gonna tell you that.
Nathan Moat said Jay Lou's got some fire predictions. He's not gonna lie. So,
I'm just saying, you know, because we've been saying it for the past 3 weeks. Vrabel's getting ready to have his malarkey Munchak.
Yeah, and I think it goes the opposite way. Because again, I really think Amy thinks the world of Vrabel. You don't see G-Wood, you know, you've been watching a lot of football. You don't see too many GMs get fired and the head coach is still there.
Yeah.
So and then it's already been stated that he'll probably have some input on the next GM that can work with him. So you've got the ownership in your pocket. You're gonna have to do some changes.
It's gonna be interesting, like you said, because I go back to what I said when that happened. There was something more than just football going on there.
Oh, it had to be.
Well, you know, a lot of the things have been coming out. So, right, money, football, it's been a lot. It's been a lot.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be interesting to see. Hey, but Jacksonville week, man, we hope we get everybody on board who can play on Saturday, Sunday, whenever it'll be. But this, remember where you heard it first, man, here on Halftime Adjustments from Jay Lou, the inside man, inside guy with the resources, man. Can't tell you how we got the resources, but shh. It's our secret.
We don't reveal the sources, but we let you know what's going on.
Right. That's right. Hey, but again, thank y'all for joining us for another episode of Halftime Adjustments. Thank you for all the comments, the questions on the show, man, the support of the show. And thank you for sharing the show. Man, keep looking out for us. We'll be back. We'll see when the game is going to be, and we'll let you know about the show. And more than likely, we'll do a show Sunday night, normal time, like we normally do. After the game, and we'll be able to talk about this dub that the Titans gonna get over the weekend. I said it. I said it, G-Wood.
I know you did.
Look, G-Wood ain't gonna say nothing, y'all.
Nope.
don't wait on it.
Saying a word.
Don't wait. But again, thank y'all for joining us. Eddie out there, G-Wood, J. Lou, man. We're at Halftime Adjustments. We're out of here. Peace.
Peace.